Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 12th of November, comes to you from the Canary Islands, where I'm still down here getting some winter sun. And we look at the dollar. It's actually recovered a bit the last few days, so looking short-term bullish. We do still have these downside targets hanging over us. The medium-term daily and the long-term weekly charts still bearish. But short-term, we are seeing a little bit of recovery, and that means that the euro is lower against the dollar on that dollar strength. So we're already seeing the chart just falling away there on the euro. Taking a look at sterling, we're sitting at 131.79 against the dollar. So that recovery in the dollar is starting to play through on the sterling chart. And if we look at the euro, we're still sitting around this 112 mark, so holding on to that bullish short-term trend. Bullish on the medium term, still has to work to do on the long term. Finding some resistance there on the cloud on the weekly chart. Bitcoin sitting at $15,800, so still looking bullish here. A very bullish breakout, multi-year highs. And of course the markets last night, we saw the S&P 500 index up a further 0.75%. Just struggling to really break away in a convincing fashion here, and this weekly candle just shaping up to be a little bit like a doji at the moment. Of course, we've got 2 days to go, so we'll see how that candle looks at the end of the week. But we are making new highs, but it's not really breaking out and running as a result. And of course, the Nasdaq 100 was up 2% yesterday, but just struggling to get through at the moment, so that's quite key as well. The Dow also pushing higher, but just struggling to hold the highs that we saw at the start of the year. So the Dow is just showing that we still haven't fully recovered. And if we look at the futures this morning, you see the S&P mini is down 2/3%, and the Nasdaq down 1/3%. So it does suggest the US market will open lower. Also, the VIX volatility we're seeing here is falling away. So the fear index at the moment is not fearful. So the market's looking relatively steady. Looking at the FTSE future, we're down this morning, but we have seen a very sharp recovery in November. And if we look at the cash market in Germany, the DAX is just slightly down, and the CAC 40 is up. So we are just seeing that performance continuing. A real jump there to make multi-month highs. Still not made new all-time highs, the same as the US has. Looking at Japan, fairly flat here overnight. Hong Kong just falling on political fears, and China actually down very slightly. So markets really not running, and we're seeing the Sensex in India down 0.8%, but it has broken to a clear new high. And the Aussie market down 0.5%, and again has lots of work to do before it would be anywhere near new high. Looking at gold this morning, we see that is really struggling. We're just near activating this downside target, so I'm 10% lower, but we haven't done that yet. But the longer we hang around below this cloud, the worse it is for gold on that medium term and short term view. The long term chart is still looking very bullish. Silver also a similar position, of course. And if we look at US 10-year yields, they are really just nudging this 1% level now, so a really quite clear trend to the upside, bullish short term. Taking a look at some of the tech stocks, Apple was up 3% yesterday, Amazon was up 3%, so we've seen some pretty big performances. Google up 0.7%, and Microsoft up 2.6%. Of course, Apple and Amazon, Microsoft make up 1/3 of the Nasdaq 100, and we do still have these downside targets hanging over us, the failure to make new highs. So that is just something we do need to be aware of. Looking at the energy mix, we've got Brent crude up this morning. It has made a new multi-week high, but we've still got to fight this battle to get through the 46 level, the previous high set in September. So I've got my key levels on here at the moment, but we do see we've got a little bit of downside pressure here, so for crude, so one to watch. And if we look at WTI, similar picture of course. US nat gas did break the $3 mark yesterday, and we just see resistance at the moment at 306, but we do have good upside targets, so looks like we might go higher, and we've moved into a short-term bullish trend. Storage numbers out today, of course. Coal is sitting at 55.50, so just teetering along the bottom here, but seems to have found support around this $54 mark, so that's quite key for coal. We do have an upside target of 58.60 there. Watch the OTC targets. Emissions looking very interesting indeed. We look like we might have just broken this short-term uptrend here, so that's something to watch. Double top forming there. The height of the pattern, of course, means we'll be back down to cloud support, though just might see emissions falling away, and we've got a downside target on 5% lower. TTF front month, we're down 0.75% this morning. The medium-term trend still looking pretty good, and just making a bullish transition on the short-term trend. German power still struggling to get back above the 40 euro mark. We did nudge that level. We see that with the key levels marked on the chart here, but at the moment it's still just struggling to hold that, but looking a bit better this week. And the same with the quarterly contract. And we're seeing the calendar contract for Nordic Power just jumping this morning, but it's been a pretty grim affair, making multi-month lows there as well. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.